Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SirLinksalot podcast. I'm your host, Artemis Peacock, and today I'm with our founder and CEO, Nicholas Altimore. How are you today, Nick?
I'm doing pretty good. For those of you that don't know, I don't think we've ever said it, but Artemis and I usually get on like 30 minutes to an hour before the show and just discuss all sorts of random things that a lot of times we can't really discuss on the podcast, I would think. And that puts me in an incredibly good mood. So, she's sort of like my therapist, past the therapist now, it puts me in a good mood. We have a lot of fun conversation, both on and off the podcast. So we just had like a 45-minute chat, I think, that dove into all sorts of things.
And, from social media to like ethics and philosophy. Like, I feel like we're like the modern day Marcus Aurelius.
That's so funny. I was like, how is she going to position it without making us sound crazy? And that's the way to do it.
How is she going to make us sound like regular civilized human beings? Well, PR training.
Good. Yeah.
In general, I really look forward to our like pre-chats because it also puts me in just like not just like a good mood, but also in like a chatty mood, like a podcast, a curious, inquisitive mood. Now my brain is like thinking about like philosophical things and thinking about like, what is really like behind this? So then I feel like I'm like prepared for my entire week. Actually, it's like the highlight of my week, except for like food and parties. So
if I had food and parties to look forward to, then that would, the only thing I've got to look forward to after this is my son. So those are my two.
Maybe we should bring him on. Well, no, he'd come on with like a mask and
just I keep him off, for obvious reasons. I don't trust the internet too much.
Can I meet him one day then?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You'd have a blast.
I'm winning. Special treatment.
Of course. Okay.
So speaking of meeting people, I feel like, Nick, to be honest with you, I feel like the podcastees have not properly met you.
Oh,
I feel like I know you very well, but I feel like everybody else is like kind of missing out because you're not huge into like projecting yourself in any form that would require other people to validate you in any way, shape, or form. So I feel like I have to like put you in that position, even though I know it's not your element. So that's why today's episode is going to be a really special one. So
okay.
I've done a lot of podcasts with you, but I realized that I've never actually sat you down for like a proper SirLinksalot style podcast interview. So today we're going to change that.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a little nervous because she told me at first, do you want to look at the questions beforehand? And I was like, well, if you're offering, then yeah, of course. And then I already knew, too, that she was going to rescind that and be like, you know what? Actually, I think it'll be more fun if we keep you in the dark. So I already knew the answer. I figured that's what was going to happen. So, I'm a little nervous, but let's see what she's got planned. If you know Artemis, she's got some tricks up her sleeve and she knows how to dig in there and get good information out of people. So we'll see.
Well, in my defense, I do it because I think it's genuinely so fun. Like, this is like the best part of my week. So I was making the questions and then I was like, okay, Nick, it's fine. I'll send them to you. You can review them because that's how I normally handle my regular podcast guests. But I realized you're not a regular podcast guest, Nick. This is like, you're already used to my BS. You're used to how I navigate conversations and my inquisitive nature. So this is just like a regular episode for us, but it's like formatted like a regular SirLinks pod.
It's your inquisitive nature that I'm worried about. You might get me to verbal vomit some stuff that's best kept off the show, I think. But let's go for it. Well, that's fine.
We have a fantastic team of editors. So if Nick actually starts telling us about like his childhood like trauma, then we can just be like, whoa!
It wasn't so bad.
Well, you're a Gen X?
I'm a millennial.
You're okay. Anyway,
but only 1 year after, right? So like 86. Yeah. I think 85 was the cutoff for what are they called?
So you're like right on the cusp. I call myself a zillennial because of that too.
Gotcha.
So I'm like right. So I'll just like whatever suits my purposes. Right now, I'm saying you're like Gen X because
I'm a first year millennial.
Like a baby
origin story.
Geriatric millennial. Geriatric millennial.
Yeah.
That's an actual thing, by the way. And I say that because
really,
me and Kimberly Aho were talking about this like on a yacht in Greece. She
Mhm.
considers herself a geriatric millennial, and she's the same age as you. And I was like,
Interesting.
I like this, but also
I'm
you're
gonna have
like
to look
really
into
like.
it. I've been getting called
Okay.
uncle a lot, so I feel it. Yeah.
Can I call you? Well, I can't call you Ugg. I feel like because like I'm your dad is how we've established this. So
True. Yeah.
fun. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yes.
Okay, which makes your son my grandson.
Mm.
And we're rolling with that.
That sounds fine. That's good.
You'll be okay with that.
I don't think he's got a godmother. You can be his godmother. There you go. You just turned the title.
I just learned what a godmother was like 2 years ago, and then the chick I learned it from was like she's like super duper religious Christian.
Uh-huh.
So I thought I didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, what is a godmother? And she was like, oh, they just like if something happens to you, then they'll take care of your kid, and then you give them gifts all the time. And I'm like, oh, godmother. So like, why did they choose you? And then she got really offended. I was like, no, like I don't know. Like, what is a godmother? I don't know why they chose you as that. And she says, well, because I'm close with the mother. And I was like, okay, my bad. Sorry.
That's funny. Yeah, that was a whole thing with my family when Caspian was born. Like, I was like, oh, you pick like your close friend, and it's like a title, is kind of how I took it. And sure enough, I told my parents about it, and then they got wildly offended that
why?
because they said that basically I'd pick somebody other than them, and I'm like, I thought that's like how this all worked. Like, I don't even give a shit about half this stuff. Like, it's all made up. Anyhow, really yeah. So some people get really sensitive about that crap,
That's funny. Yeah. Well, I had no idea, so I learned that the hard way. But anyway, I'll be honored to be Caspian's godmother. I'll like send him stuff for Christmas, and then like add a little postcards. Like, here's some stuff for my trip to France. I just love being like the annoying travel aunt. It's like
he'll love that
brand. Yeah, but first you have to bring him on one of our little chats, and then you're like, hey, here's my son, here's show and tell, and then like put him off to the side. Like,
we'll take a trip to Europe at some point. That'd be the more fun thing to do.
No, oh my gosh, that'd be super fun, especially like, well, he's old enough now to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's getting there. All right, so I'm going to let everybody else try to meet you. We're gonna start with like a little bit of like just a general overview. Okay. Now, here's what we know. We know your name is Nick Altimore. We know that, or Altimore, whichever way. You choose a pronunciation of your name, by the way. I just choose to pronounce it wrong.
No, you're the one that knows the history of all this stuff. You even told me I was pronouncing my last name wrong. How am I supposed to be pronouncing it? I would say Altimore if I had to, right? Like, because it's Italian at its base. But it's just like, if I say it like that, here in Texas, I just feel like I'm being a performative male,
Really? Like you think that you sound like overly pretentious?
Yes. Yeah, completely.
My name is Nicolas Altimore.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it.
I feel that way here sometimes too, because like when I speak Dutch, obviously I have like a strange accent. It actually sounds quite South African. So I'll be speaking with like my South African accent, and then I'll say my own name. Like when people ask me what my name is, and I'll say it in an American accent, I see people kind of like rolling their eyes a little bit because I won't mispronounce my own name. So, and I do that in every language except for Greek because my name is Greek. So in Greek, I'll say, okay, ime Artemi. And it's, there's a Greek version of my name because it is Greek.
Wait, do you say Artemi ever? I've never heard you call yourself.
My Greek name is actually Themi. Because Artemis is actually a very, very, very old name. Like, it's like an ancient name. So because of that, sorry, like language nerd moment, it uses the same structure as a male name. So if someone is talking to me, I'd be Artemi. But if someone's talking about me, I'm Artemis. So almost all male names are like that. Like if you're talking to someone, you say Yorgo, which is like the Greek version of George. But if you're talking about Yorgo, you say Yorgos. Oh, Yorgos did this. Okay.
Interesting.
So it's like that. So I can do it in Greek, but with every other language, I'm just kind of like, watashi no name wa Artemis desu. In Japanese, it's still a little, it just doesn't sound right to me. So I say Artemis desu.
Okay, right on.
So
Damn.
anyway, I want to say just pick a struggle.
You live a very complicated life via language, I feel like.
It's the worst. I'm starting to actually kind of like my brain feels like it's full. I kind of regret it.
No, not possible. You've got a long way to go, I think. Artemis is like an oracle over here.
I visited Delphi in English, and I really felt like I was in my element. I was like, do you know the story about that? They would pretty much just like sit this lady on like a stool, like a magic stool, and she'd like inhale some vapors, and she'd get high as balls, and then she'd just start telling people their fortune.
Really?
I'd be like, yeah, man, yeah. I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. People would come from like far and wide to go to Delphi, and they'd be like, hey, like, who's gonna win this battle? I'm a military general. What's going on? And then she would just like get lit and start babbling, and then she would have someone interpret her babbles for her. It would just be like
what was she smoking? Do you know? What was she taking? Nobody knows?
Crunk. Yeah. Nobody knows.
Interesting.
It was the fumes. They had like a pit. Then the pit. You'd like sit on the stool in the pit of flames. You're like, what's your question?
Just inhale.
Inhale, and then start babbling. And then the priest is sitting over there like, okay, so what she's saying is, and then he would just like make some shit up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would thrive. I would thrive.
We should maybe try that out, you know? I feel like we could make that work. I'd be comfortable inhaling the fumes if you want to translate, or vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we both inhale the fumes. Yeah. I don't know. You know?
I mean, I already speak 6 languages, so I feel like I'd be a pretty solid designated translator. I also speak Nick. Like, I feel like you're like your own. You're not a person. You're like an experienced Nick. So I feel like I could translate pretty accurately. I'll just be like, okay, yeah. Anyway, he said that you should like invade Poland, and they're like, okay,
she's saying I'm crazy. Yeah.
No, it's beyond that. I'm not saying you're like beyond crazy, but like it's next level. You're something else.
There's something wrong with me. I know.
There's something wrong with all of us. And I was saying, like, I was mentioning your generation because I feel like there's something wrong with everybody who's like that general generation. Like, even if your childhood was fine, like there's still something wrong with you.
Well, we are the most unique generation out there because we existed pre-internet and then had the internet at, the very beginning. So we lived the boomer lifestyle and then, your lifestyle, for lack of a better way.
You don't live my lifestyle, honey.
No, we got a taste of both of them. It was a really fun time when you had to call your friend's house to see if they were even there. And if you couldn't get a hold of them, then you're like off doing your own thing and you got nothing to fall back on as far as your phone. Like you're just out there in nature for the last bit of that existence. It was pretty fucking awesome. I'm not going to lie.
I just want you guys to know that Nick recommended me a movie to watch, and he was like, this is like the best movie ever. And it was literally just some guy doing that. Like half of the scenes were like these people talking in a forest. And
that could be why I like it so much. It draws me back to a simpler time. And for those of you that don't know, the movie is Sling Blade. It is the greatest film ever produced. Billy Bob Thornton wrote, directed, and starred in it. And yeah, I might still pull that little trick out of my forgotten hat, but in college I thought about doing a little art project because I knew the entire movie word for word, and I was just going to stand in front of a camera looking like Carl from Sling Blade, and I was going to rehearse every single line directly to the camera in one take. And I think it would have been pretty powerful. Okay, go ahead and drop a comment, like, subscribe if you think that's a great idea. Maybe I'll get it going.
Hi everybody, I'm the SirLinksalot head of content strategy and development, and I do not approve of that on our channel. However, if you would like, we can outsource this and put it on your personal channel, Nick, because this is just too much. This is too heavy. This is too heavy. They're not ready.
It is the best movie ever made. Let us know if you think so too. Artemis had a hard time with it.
Yeah, because okay, look, I understand the appeal, but in general, the like it's what you describe. It's like very, the good old days vibes. I wasn't around. Okay, buddy. Yeah, I'm too young. I'm too fresh. I wasn't around for that. So I feel like if you're like nostalgic for those days where you can just call up your buddy and say, hey man, or like go to like a French fry stall, you can do that in the Netherlands. But like in the
Hmm.
States, I've never been able to walk up to a stall and be like, hey, give me some French fries, right?
With mustard. Yeah.
With mustard, right?
Hmm.
The old school Southern diner sort of feel like it's not my thing. But
That's fair.
I
Yeah.
can see why it is your thing because you're like of the times.
Yeah,
You
it
have
could
to
be.
be mustard,
I don't
old
know.
man.
Yeah, it's not quite my era, but
It's your
yeah,
aesthetic.
there's something about it. Yeah. Well, yeah, parts of it, sure.
Oh, like I
Yeah.
said, multifaceted experience what Nicholas
Yes.
Altimore is.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay. I kind of want to give everybody just like the TLDR so that we kind of have like a good foundation as to, what you're doing here in general, like what's going on. Can you just let us know, like, how long have you been doing SEO in general? And like, how did you first get started? I know it starts with something like a call center, but I don't
Sure.
remember the details of it, of that mess.
Yeah. So it would have been um I don't know, 10 to 12 years ago, I guess, somewhere in there. A little bit of origin story. After college, and even during college, I found my way into the bar scene and I started bartending. And that became more of a focus than wanting to be a doctor or any of that sense. And so I found myself getting a marketing degree just to get the hell out of college with a degree. Um, but once I got out, I still continued working in the bar scene for the next 10 years or so, all through my 20s. And it was a fun life, but at some point, the fun doesn't lead to very much freedom, etc. And I'd done like a few other things, like fought MMA during that time. But at some point, I hit this like low period where I was just like, this is an endless cycle that's not taking me anywhere. I want out of this. And so I started kind of coming up with a way to do that. At that time, I was pretty adventurous, I single guy, nobody had to really answer to. And my buddy was living in Alaska and he's like, well, there's a ton of jobs up here. Why don't you just dip out and come out here? And I just bought this new motorcycle and I was just riding around all day. And I go, well, why not turn it into a full adventure? So I took my motorcycle, picked a date, and then took off. And I
How
lived,
long did that take?
the entire trip was around like 7 to 8 months long. And I ended up commercial fishing in Alaska for salmon, which was like a whole crazy event. All the adventure came to a strong culmination, exactly like how I'd kind of envisioned, not necessarily like an idealized version of that adventure, because several bad things happened, but just that it was very well-rounded and fulfilling.
Right.
Yeah, like a couple people died on opening day and things of that nature.
Oh,
It was pretty wild. But anyhow, then I come back to Texas after 7 months of like walkabout, adventuring, soul searching, all the, kind of uh, fairy tale kind of stuff. And I get back and I'm like, okay, well, when I was looking for a fishing job, I applied to probably like 100 of them and I only got one call back. And that's what it took to get me into that position. So like, I've got to treat it the same way now that I'm here. And then like I'd work for my buddy Pat, who was the other greenhorn, meaning new guy on the fishing team. He flew me out to Indiana due to construction. We're like, a lot of the job is just like one nail at a time, right? Like, and that's what builds the big picture. But I really like that. It's something I keep in my head a lot, especially like in tech, if I've got to do a bunch of mundane Excel stuff. In my mind, I just picture it as I'm hammering a nail, right? Like here it comes.
yeah.
And then through all that minutia, you build the big picture. But anyhow, I'd come back with that mindset and I'm like, okay, I'm not going back to the bar scene. I've really got to apply to just a plethora of career oriented jobs and see what pans out, and I have to like remain open with it. And so I did. I applied to like every single job I possibly could. My resume, you know, was 10 years of bartending and then with some fishing and like adventuring around. So
Super
um
fun.
you know, I don't know, not very marketable to a lot of these companies. And same as Alaska, I got one call back, and it was for this large tech company doing sales, phone-based sales. And I came to find out later on that the recruiter almost didn't hire me because he thought that I was too interesting, or rather had too free of a mindset to sit there and, you know, do this whole thing. But I remember sitting there in training, and you know, they would hire like 30 people. There's a huge revolving door, but the sales force was around 500 people. So we're talking about large operation. And I kept my head down, and they told you just read the script, read the script, don't deviate, don't do anything, just read the script. And I hated my life like to the max, you know, going from adventure to this kind of thing. But like in my mind, I was like, this is how you get to where you want to go. Like, you know, and so you know that other people have done this. If somebody else has done it, then there's no reason that you can't do it. And so I just keep that mantra in my mind, like, you know, one nail at a time. I'd look down, I'd read the script, and go through the motions, right? To just do the job. I hated it, but sometimes I feel like through exploration of things that you're not confident in, or it's not your cup of tea, you are exploring parts of you that are very capable of handling certain things that in the end become an asset to you if you help them evolve.
Right.
And as I got off the training floor, I see this one guy, and he is running back and forth. We had pods, so there'd be a manager with like 10 sales callers, and he would hop on their calls, help them out, things of that nature, help them parrot. His name was Zach. And when I saw him, I got excited because I see this guy very animated with expert rebuttals going back and forth. And the whole thing is a high energy battle on the phone. And like, I'm like, dude, if I can learn to do that, then that'd be pretty fucking cool. You know, he got me really excited about the whole concept. And the only reason was because I stayed long enough to, you know, to witness that. And then sure enough, I didn't train directly under him, but I had some of his scripts and stuff, and I'd watched him, and I'd listened to a bunch of different people's phone calls. Like, I took the energy with me. When I went home, I would listen to sales calls. I read, you know, sales-based books. To Sell is Human by Pink, I think, would be one of my favorite sales-based books for anybody looking for something about that. But yeah, within, I think, a month and a half or so, I was top 10% of the sales floor. And I stayed that way for around, well, for the entirety that I was there, until I realized the product wasn't quite what I thought we were selling.
Oh
I
my.
couldn't get behind it anymore when I realized it. And so like I had to leave. But I learned a lot, because when I went in there, I remember, and this is going to sound funny coming from an SEO, but I remember just being like, what do you mean we help people get up in Google? What the fuck does that matter? Like, that's where I was at with it. Like, I didn't understand why that was worth so much money. None of it like really made any sense to me. But at that time too, I remember sitting on the sales floor certain times and seeing the CEO and founder come through, right? Like, and I would just like stare at him. And I remember thinking, how do you get there? Like, what do you need to do to be in that position, right? And it was like something that I really mulled over. And through happenstance, when I decided to leave, I thought I was going to go into real estate. And a guy that I worked with who was also really good, but really lazy, his name's Ryan. He's been on our podcast. but we admired like the fact that we could make a handful of calls versus like everybody else had to be slave driven, and make like 100+ calls. We could make a handful of calls, we'd meet our quota, and then we would just act like, this all stars of the team, like kind of assholes, fuck off for the day. Yeah. But anyhow, he contacted me and he goes, what are you thinking about doing? Like, let's have a meeting. And I go, all right, whatever. I'm going to go into real estate. And he meets up with me. He's like, you're not going into real estate. We're going into SEO. Found like these underground courses, which at the time was OMG machines, that we can study, learn how to do this. And we're going to go from there. And I thought to myself, okay, well, we've already got the sales background. Why not try it out? And then that created a whole different set of ordeals, whole different adventure. But that was my origin story in the SEO world. And then that's when I started, he and I started our own first company. And it all grew from there. But I feel like, it's long-winded, but it explains just basically the whole situation. Like, I think for some people, it's really natural that they fall into a career path, etc. For me, that was never going to be the case. And I feel like what you need to do if you're a bit of a wanderer, if you're a bit up in the air like I am, is always stay open to opportunity. Like, learning something that you don't like can be an opportunity. Hanging out with people you don't really get along with can be an opportunity. It's all about how you internalize it and what you're open to that might help you build off of something random. Like, I would have never thought I'd be in tech at this age. 25-year-old me, no fucking way. And there are people who can attest the fact that, like, I would punch my computer screen if I got too angry with, the laptop or whatever like that. I was a Neanderthal. So it's kind of a miracle that I ended up here, but it was really all just about perspective and frame of mind.
That's actually one of my questions, Nick. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. What is the stereotype of like a typical SEO? And do you think that you fit it, or do you feel like you're closer to the tech bro stereotype, or couldn't be far from it?
Well, I don't know. I think there's a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life that fall into SEO specifically, because for a lot of people, it has to do with the nomadic entrepreneur kind of dream, right? Like, there's a lot of adventurers, I think, that have lived that kind of lifestyle. They realize that they want more than just, they get to a certain age. Maybe they want family, or maybe they want more financial stability. I always called it access, right? Like, the reason I wanted more financial freedom was for access. If I'm traveling, I don't want to just be, broke living in a tent, which I was comfortable with. It's nice to be able to go do whatever the hell you want as well. And so, like, I feel like you run into a lot of those people, but the vast majority probably did have a sort of pulse on tech, at least, right? Like, they grew up in an internet era, really adopted that kind of ideology early on. And I think like that probably helps in a lot of ways, versus me. I kind of had to like force that interaction in order to get it to work for me. As far as whether I'm an SEO type or a tech bro type, I don't really know where I fit in with a lot of this stuff. Like a lot of it is I just want to be me, authentically me. And I feel like sometimes I lose sight of a lot of that when I get too hyper focused on the career element, which happens, right? Like, we all go through like stress periods, etc. Entrepreneurship, and I've talked about it a million times, is the hardest thing that I've gotten to work out of everything that like I've ever tried. It's tested me the most. And I feel like, though, if I frame it that way, then it's become just a part of the adventure, right?
Right. I feel like if you ask me, like, you don't fit any of those stereotypes. Like, you couldn't be further away from the obnoxious tech founder stereotype, but also I feel like people stereotype SEOs as like there's like two types of SEOs. There's like the digital nomad type of SEO, or there's like the very kind of reserved, nerdy kind of SEO. You don't fit. I mean, I guess you could have fit the travel nerd stereotype, but like now, no, you're just, yeah, you're very unique in that sense, and I feel like it manifests in your journey as well.
Yeah, the thing that got me really interested in it was the creative outlet that it allowed. Like once you started like learning how to navigate the data and all this stuff that I find personally pretty mundane, but you fit it together to create a narrative that allows, for all sorts of freedom and interesting creativity, then like for me, like that played into it a whole lot more. And then as I get to like play this more with other people, right? Like, so like you're involved and other like people are involved in building this thing. Makes it that much more magical, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I love it.
yeah.
Gotcha. So one thing that you mentioned was that you got a marketing degree in college. I
Yeah.
think that you are actually the first person who I've spoken to in this field. Now, I've been in the field for 6 years now, and I've never spoken to anybody who has a marketing degree before. Do you feel like that actually helped you, or did you just kind of have to still learn everything as you go, regardless of the fact that you had a marketing degree?
Marketing degree was absolutely worthless. I originally went to school for psychology. Then I got really into neuroscience, and I was thinking, okay, I'll be a doctor. And I think if I was older and more mature, maybe I would have still like wanted to go that route. Um, all of that information, I feel like plays into more about what I do now than what I actually got the degree in, which was marketing, because I could basically shut my brain off, go through the motions, get this stupid degree, and be out of school. And that's how I felt about it. I remember the only time we ever discussed SEO was my final year in school. And we entered this competition that would go to Duke, basically designing like meta tags or something like that. But like our professor didn't even understand it. She's like, I don't understand this or like how it works or anything. So like, y'all try and figure it out. And like, we all just took guesses at it. But that was like the only SEO value. And then everything else, like I remember so much about it. I wasn't made for school, at least not that kind, because it didn't allow for like a lot of creative outlet. A lot of this stuff I remember thinking, and like a lot of professors that I remember working with, I'm like, yep, y'all are stupid. Like, I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to be an elitist in that. It's just, what were they actually giving us as far as, tradecraft goes? Like, it was bare minimum. I haven't used much of anything from there. Like maybe some organizational skills came through and I just don't acknowledge them, but it's not worth the amount of money that college costs. I'll say that. I don't even know where my degree is. I think it's in my side closet over here, but
Has anyone ever asked to see your degree?
only for the one job that I got, my first SEO job. And the funny thing is they actually preferred to hire people with no degrees that worked in the service industry because they were more personable and capable of communication. And so they hired a lot of bartenders, waitresses, waiters, things of that nature, right? Which is funny because like now I look at it and I'm like, those kinds of things are more interesting to me as well,
Right. That's so interesting. So they would have probably hired you either way. They just want to see if you were like lying about it or something, probably. Like, oh, this guy have a freaking marketing degree. Like,
yeah, but yeah, they just didn't care. Like, it's basically I can't tell you a single job that I've gotten where the marketing degree helped. And in my career, I don't know. I've done like maybe like 3 PowerPoint presentations. Maybe I got some of that shit there.
They're called
but again,
now.
You can get on YouTube and figure that shit out real quickly. So yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes complete sense. I want to kind of pivot a little bit and ask you about something that I've seen you and your business partner talk about. That I'm just like, it's one of those things where like I don't know what this is, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask.
Oh shit.
What is Freedom Links, and why do you guys keep reminiscing about it?
Oh, so Freedom Links is the first company. Technically, it's the second company. our second brand that me and Ryan actually rolled. The first one was called Lion Rank, and it was an agency. But as we're building out the agency, I started honing in on backlinking. I always took the Hearst aspect to it, like whoever controls the forest controls the newspapers, or like the output, right?
Okay.
So to me, the forest was always the backlinks. So if you had networks of backlinks, then you could power up virtually any website, especially in those days. And so we had the agency, and as I'm working on outreach, I figure out how to build PBNs, and that became like my favorite thing because it was a huge puzzle for me. It took a long time for me to really fully understand how they worked, how to insulate them, get them from de-indexing. The procurement of the domains themselves was really exciting to me because I love combing for treasure, whether that's in real life or digital treasure. Some people might call it trash, but it's my treasure. And Freedom Links was exclusively a PBN that I built out with Ryan, and that was the first. Like it really took off, and it solidified me as a backlink builder. And it lasted. I don't know. I think maybe like around 4 years before basically what we did was morph it into SirLinksalot. And
Gotcha.
that's what Freedom Links is. It was an origin story of all of these of SirLinksalot and of the backlinking, basically the foundation of selling links. Because originally too, I developed that PBN just to be like an in-house network, right? Same as like our outreach for guest posts. We didn't have niche edits yet at the time. And, from there, as the algorithm shifted and things of that nature, we had to get more dynamic with the type of backlinks that we provided. But yeah, that was the origin story to the whole thing.
Gotcha. That was probably like I didn't expect it to be a SirLink's origin story, so that like just made me giddy. Like, oh, we have a predecessor. That's cute.
Let me see. Actually, I think.
Too bright.
Huh. I don't know. I thought I still had it up somewhere. I think I'm going to make it an Easter egg on SirLinksalot.co. Yeah, because there was one time when I was doing a rebranding campaign on Freedom Links where I put my heart and soul into the design of the website. I stayed in my apartment for at least like 3 straight days, barely slept. Used Adobe in conjunction with some other stuff to build out the website to my liking, but I used Ryan's face as like the cartoon character and stuff. But it was that's the most fun I've ever had designing a website, and I've only done it that one time where like I put that much effort into it. But yeah, I'm still proud.
Can I find it on Wayback Machine?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I might look for it and then have the editor shove a screenshot because I'm morbidly curious now.
Yeah.
So as your SEO career evolved, you started attending quite a few SEO conferences, particularly in Asia as well. What was your first one, and how did you get the idea to even show up in the first place? And obviously, I want to know how it went as well.
I think my first one would have been, SEO Mastery Summit in Vietnam, put on by Mad Singers, Giannis. I found out about it because, there's only a handful of major SEO events, at least, I call it like niche down SEO, where we're talking about backlinks, not just like white hat tactics, etc. That a lot of people in the industry go to. And when it seemed time, and I say it seemed time because we knew about these events going on well before we went to them. We were just kind of keeping our head down and focusing on business as we needed to. before deciding to go do that. And so, yeah, went to it without too much expectation. Like, honestly, I hadn't traveled in a while, so I was just excited about getting back to Asia. There was a lot of people that, I hadn't met in real life. One of them, my current business partner, who I won't mention because he's a hermit. But I had never met him in real life. We'd been doing business together for like 10 plus years, something. Or, well, no, not at the time, but whatever it was a lot of years, right? Like 6 to 8 years. And I go out to visit him first. I realized that he doesn't look at all like what I thought he looked like in his pictures and shit like that.
Well,
Because he
tell us
never
about. I've
updates
heard the
anything.
catfish story, but I want everybody else to hear the catfish story too.
Well, yeah. I show up in India, in Bangalore, and like I'm looking at my phone, and there's this big muscular dude just staring at me. Like the picture I'm looking at is of like a 17-year-old skinny kid, right? Like it hadn't been updated in forever. And like he comes up and with like this straight face, because he always looks straight faced. He was like, "It's me." And so that's still been like a funny origin story. And then we proceeded that night to get hammered with one another and really open up about everything. But like that was the first time we met in real life, and it was like a really fun experience. That was really cool because I was always in the camp that like, you can't make good friends on the internet, or like I'm the boomer in me, resonated that way, and it's not true at all. I've made a lot of really great friends on the internet, some of which I still haven't met to this day. Some of which I don't even know their actual names, right? Like we only know each other by screen names. Then from there I jumped over to Vietnam, and I ran into a lot of other people that I've known over the years. Some of the coolest stuff, was running into like, I think it was Jabez Rubin, who's a big name, now. He came up and said hi to me and was like, "Man, a long time ago, you helped me out with the question that I had, and you like kind of helped me go through these things." Cause like, I've always been kind of open forum. I didn't like gatekeeping information. If somebody had questions, like I was always happy to share. But him immediately coming up, he had his business there, and was showcasing it. Like it was a big deal for me. Like it's cool seeing that you influence somebody just by, sharing info. Like that's always rad. And there's a lot of people that I met along those same lines. The event itself was cool. The guys that put it on are really cool too. Like we had a lot of fun. At that point in time, I was not hesitant about partying at all, and there was definitely a lot of partying. For anybody that's interested in going, I'll say, you're gonna get benefit going to the chats and all that stuff, and like going to the event itself, but do not negate going to the after hours stuff. That is where the true magic of networking really happens, especially if you're a bit of a social butterfly. It's a fun network to be in for sure.
Gotcha. I feel like I didn't, intend to ask you about this, but I'm curious if you have any like initial conference advice in general, because I've been to quite a few conferences, but most of them were in the States, and I went to my first European conference a couple of weeks ago. And I feel like I was a little bit lost. Like I was chatting with people and I got to meet about a dozen people, and everybody was so amazing and friendly. But I feel like I didn't get as much out of it as I would if I had gone in with like a little preparation checklist or something. Do you have any like suggestions for people like me who want to know where to start?
Sure. Before you go in, take yourself 1, maybe 2 shots of some bourbon and let the loose lips ride, get out there, ask random questions. Because like, especially like when you go to conferences based on career, etc., there's going to be a lot of cold, calculated talking points. A lot of people that you run into maybe speak about the same kind of stuff over and over again, and like it's just regurgitated to a certain degree. So getting out of your element and kind of playing around with people, like I think is a huge advantage, because if you're personable, you're sitting with a lot of people, you can get people comfortable, get them talking. Like that's where you really find magic being shared, right? Like in the form of like well, what are you actually up to? You know, it's not just this cold, you know, generic response, but, you know, then you can get into the nitty gritty. And of course, it's going to be easier to talk about technical stuff if, you know, you've got like your finger on the pulse of whatever kind of conference you're going to. But even if you don't, being a bit of a social butterfly can allow access to hearing those things. I mean, I've been at tables before where like there was some really strong data driven people, right? Like, but they'd open up about like stuff that they're working on. I'm like, all right, I gotta go look some of this up because a lot of it went over my head, right? But like, yeah, that's where you find the interesting stuff. So I don't know. I'm not gonna advocate for, you know, getting drunk before the whole operation, but just be loose, like be open, right?
He said a shot or two. He didn't say get drunk.
Yeah, that's
He said loosen up.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Just loosen up. Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty solid advice either way. I think that I succeeded in that sense. Actually, I met a couple of people who we started a local networking event where we just had our first event this weekend, and I met those people at the conference. So I feel like in general, it's got a lot of opportunity if you just like. So my thing in general, this isn't just with like networking events, but I only talk about work after we've been talking for like 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I feel like
very European of you. Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. It's just like, because it could be considered rude here to just like, you know, even if it's like, okay, we all are here because we're doing the same work. It's rude to just kind of center work in people's lives in general. So I feel like that's like such solid advice. Yeah.
Yeah, to a certain degree, right? Like you're putting ego aside and you're just discussing what other people are into. Like be a good listener, I think, is intuitive to having a good time at these places. A lot of people show up and they want to like really push that they're the expert on something and they don't stop talking and regurgitating the same stuff. And I don't feel like that, you know, leads to a lot of openness and a lot of, good communication, right? And also, you heard it here first. If you're in Amsterdam, right? That's where the event is.
Right?
Marketing.
The Randstad marketing ladies. So if you guys are a lady and you're in marketing and you're in the Randstad, which translates to like ring cities. So it's Amsterdam, Den Haag, Rotterdam, and Utrecht, where we're mainly going to be hosting the little events. So yeah, if you guys are anywhere around there, hit me up. Be happy. Follow us on Instagram. We have an Instagram. We have a link.
I was pretty jealous of the pics. Artemis put on quite the gala for the whole thing. Like, the food looked amazing.
I love being extra. Being extra is my favorite thing ever. Like, oh my gosh, everybody's so fun. And we don't really get that many opportunities to just like go out and genuinely just do something to where you realize like, wait a minute, we can just do whatever we want. If we want to say, hey, we're having a little fancy event and we're going to have it in like a freaking cafe or something, like we can do that. Like there's nothing stopping us. So anyway, we're here for our, to be free with other marketers. So hit us up. So one of your pet peeves that you mentioned was when people go in and they just start like chatting and will not STFU about being like so much smarter and more technical than everybody. I want to know, what's your number one SEO pet peeve right now that you're struggling with?
Well, it would probably be based on the same thing.
Really?
I feel like there's a lot of, and this isn't even really just an SEO thing. I think this is just like this new phenomenon where there is countless people focused on being the guru in a certain industry versus being the actual, you know, head of a certain industry, or, you know, one of the heads of a certain industry, or a top performer. I feel like people that focus on image over capability and focus on image versus shared information, like gatekeeping information, etc. Right? Like, I'm an authority, come by my course kind of shit. I think that's one of the biggest pet peeves that I have. There's too many people out there that want to be special versus wanting to do good. And I see that as like having a lack of creativity, having a lack of interest in the people that you're doing business with, etc. And so, that that's something that gets to me. And I think, like, you know, playing off what you said earlier, that's something that like has always kind of kept me, and I don't necessarily think it's a good thing, but it's kept me from being really open on social media as far as promotional kind of stuff. Like I feel almost guilty because like then when I see it, like it makes me cringe. I just cannot get
Really?
behind it. Yeah, no. You
Yeah.
know, but it's not just SEO. This is all over the place. I think it's
Yeah, I feel like this is like a pretty solid facet of your personality in general is when people are too like schmucky, you're just kind of
mhm.
like internal eye roll. But the good
Yeah,
news,
yes.
yeah, I feel like people in general don't really register promo as anything like super obnoxious when done tastefully,
Mhm.
which I think that we manage pretty well. But
I
in
think so.
general, people are just their eyes are like glazing over promotional things that are like from people they don't actually care about. So I feel like establishing is like, okay, this is like people and a brand and the people behind the brand that here's why you should care about it. And by the way, we're also doing some really cool stuff. I
Yeah.
feel like people are more receptive to it. So that's the good news. Like you could be
Yeah.
cringing, but other people are like, okay, this is like, we see you guys doing what you're doing and we think you have a cool product. So
Yeah.
no harm, no foul.
Fair.
All right. So this is something that I'm personally super duper curious about with you in general. So if you weren't doing what you're doing now, like running your companies, what would you be doing for work instead? So for
Mhm.
example, if you always had a dream to be, I don't know, a lunch lady or something, you're just stuck running these companies.
Man, you know, that's an incredibly difficult thing to answer.
I can pick for you. Shit.
I'm sure, but like, here's the thing. I've always been the type of person that likes to try a lot of different things. Like, I'm open about saying that I'm a master of none. Like, even in SEO, like I feel like I'm not the most advanced person, right? Like, I've learned how to build certain products that work really well. Um, but when it comes down to it, like, you know, I look at other people that are more data driven, really like have an affinity for this stuff and like are in it day to day. And I'm just like, I'm not quite there, to be honest with you. And I probably shouldn't even be admitting that because it makes me look like I'm not capable, but that's definitely not the truth either. I just
No
like,
way.
I like to try a lot of things. I always liked, I was always like that, right? Like even as a kid, I like to play a bunch of different sports. I would say I never really excelled fully at any of them that I played because I didn't stick to it and try and master any particular thing. The mastery that I've always kind of looked for was an ability to enter damn near anything and be able to do it, you know, to a certain aptitude that like, you know, I was good enough to have fun with it, right?
Right.
Be it sports, be it work, be it whatever. You know, there's an exploration in that, a type of adventure in that. And so that's what I've always been drawn to. And so if I wasn't an SEO, I think, quite honestly, I would still have found another entrepreneurial kind of movement because it's what I've always been drawn to was pure freedom basically to decide what outcome, you know, I would get out of life. And so, you know, when talking about access and career, entrepreneurship was the only one that like would fully give that to me. There's a lot of different ideas that I had growing up that I just couldn't really get behind until yeah, you know, even in like junior high, I remember the first time I went to an estate sale, I purchased something. Like I was addicted to eBay when it first came out. I would scour eBay and learn like pricing on different things because I took it as like treasure hunting, right? But
Right.
that also gave me the freedom to like pursue stuff that I liked, which was going out and treasure hunting. And then I remember the first sale I ever made, which was a Hellboy bust that I purchased for $5 in an estate sale, and I sold it for $83 and some change. That still
Nice.
resonates with me, and I was in middle school at the time, right?
Right.
So I think I was always drawn to these ideas, and maybe even like, you know, if we want to talk a little bit esoteric, like biologically or like, you know, ancestral, I come from like a line of entrepreneurs. My grandfather on my dad's side was a rancher, right? Came from
Right.
nothing and like built his little empire. And my grandfather on my mother's side was in textiles. Also started out like a kid out in the country that raised horses and found his way to the big city. And then like just he talks about it. He's like, I don't know where all my luck came from, but I've always felt like I had this guiding hand that kind of pulled me through everything. And there were certain instances where I can't believe like I made it through something, but like I had help, and I've always felt like that. Hearing them talk about that type of freedom, I think like did influence me from a young age. So whether it was SEO or whatever, I think it would have been something along those lines. Maybe I'd have a fucking antique store and be peddling junk, right? Like I don't know, but it would be somewhat similar in a sense, but
Would
it would
that make
be
you
entrepreneurial.
happy? Like if you got to just run an antique store and just, trap your little findings outside of it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't look at career as like a main focus when I'm gauging happiness, though. It's like a full spectrum thing, right? Like, is life where you want it? Like, are all things working in conjunction to giving you a fulfilling life? That's like I guess, a little caveat that I've got. I switched a long time ago. Like, if I've got example, if you go under a bridge, and this is like a superstition my mom always had, like it's a Argentinian thing as far as I know, and there's a train going over you, you make 3 wishes under the train. And so like a big one was always she taught us, right, and I've taught other friends, health, love, and money, right, because it gives you like this well-rounded kind of position, I guess, if you've got all 3 of those things, right?
Right.
But I started to digest that concept and put it into like a one-word piece, which would be fulfillment. Like whenever I'm looking at doing something in life, or whenever I'm looking at creating some sort of hierarchy about what I'm doing or what I should be doing, then the word that I keep in mind is fulfillment. Not happiness, not anything else, fulfillment, because life isn't always, about how jovial you are through the entire thing. As a matter of fact, like if I look back, I can't remember who the quote was from, but when you look back, it'll be those times of turmoil and struggle that like you look back on so fondly. And a lot of times, like, those were the positions you took that made you into what you are today, even more than the passive, relaxed times. But I feel like you can't really enjoy the happy times without the knowledge of, sacrifice and suffering to
Right.
a certain degree, right? So yeah, little
Yeah.
tangent there, but yeah.
I get what you mean. That's actually a super Buddhist concept, is that, the concept of suffering is necessary and we should embrace it, because without
Yeah.
it, then we wouldn't be able to have any perspective to know how good the actual good times are. Some of
Sure.
my fondest memories are when I was living in like a 300 square foot studio with my husband and my cat, and we had like a shared kitchen downstairs with like 5 different people when I
Mm-hmm.
first moved from Atlanta to Seattle. And it was like hell. We had no money. We were on the other side of the country. We sometimes we would just be picking coupons and we get so happy because it means we could eat for the day. But I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't trade it for the world, because I used to love just going on long little walks around Seattle and think, "Ha, I live here now." I lived there with no money, and
Yeah.
like it literally nothing was going right. But I was like, oh, I'm just so happy to be here. I
Yeah.
look fondly on that time too. So I totally get what you mean, perspective
You
wise.
can be rich in a lot of ways, right? Yeah, I went on a little tangent, but like going back to it, the antique store, while it might be fun, and I think it'll probably be how I end up in like some sort of retirement. Being stuck in one place, I don't think is really my style, to be honest with you.
Ah, I see.
I like a little extra adventure, wandering around, etc. SEO definitely gave that to me. Yeah.
Do you feel like you have another like destination on your radar in the near future?
I got to go to Argentina. I want to visit family. My grandfather is pushing 100 years old. So
Wow.
I need to get out there and spend more time. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll
gotcha.
be out there.
You say, oh, I have to go to Argentina, but like it seems like you get to go to
Yes.
Argentina. It sounds like it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
this one is another question that's just like very arty coded. Would you rather be 4 inches shorter or never use whatnot again?
I would rather never use whatnot again. I've gotten past my addiction phase, and I actually haven't been using it for the last couple of months. As a matter of fact, yesterday I had this strenuous 2 hours of moving, I don't know, close to like 5,000 to 6,000 comic books to storage, and
Jesus.
the idea of sorting through them, getting them all organized, so like I can even just offload them on whatnot. I just like, it's a side quest now, and this happens with me. I said I'm a master of none. I get into these little random side quests and I do them for a while. I'm like, okay, that was fun. Like I got it to work. I get how it works. It's cool. And then yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. So anyhow, I'm
There's
already
a
short enough. I don't need to be 4 inches shorter. Jesus, no. I
But is
mean,
it just because you don't like you're that unpassionate about whatnot now, or you really, really don't want to be 4 inches shorter? Like, I'm so curious.
I don't have the passion for whatnot anymore. I feel
Okay.
like I fell into a consumerist trap and I sort of feel off about it, to be honest with you. No,
I see.
like the whole height thing too. Granted, I feel like I'm not overly short. 4 inches shorter might actually change my perspective on it fundamentally, but I don't know. I've never seen it as like an attribute that like really hindered me or anything like that.
I
So
never
I don't really
understood
care.
it. I really
No.
never got it. Like everyone will always be like making jokes about like, oh, this man lied about his height on his Tinder profile and it's kind of
Hmm.
like his height. Like what? I never
I
got
I
it.
will I will I will laugh at an image of a guy standing on his tippy toes. That's where I draw the line.
It's
But
from like the place of insecurity. It's like, dude, you
yes.
don't care. Like, come
Yeah,
on, dude,
yeah,
grow up.
yeah. You can be
Yeah.
short and have all the confidence in the world, and that's literally what everything comes down to, in my opinion. Is how confident you are and how you carry yourself is really going to show you the world
It's
for what
true.
it
A
should
lot of
be.
people don't understand that I'm actually only 5'3". So when they meet me in
Are you
person,
really?
yeah,
Oh,
everyone says it like I just give taller energy, and it's just
for
because
sure.
I have good posture and long legs.
Oh,
So
dude.
people meet me in person and be like, "What the f-? Like I could step on you," and I'm like, "Yes."
Oh,
So freaking aura.
that happened at a. I don't remember. I think it was in Chiang Mai, and a guy was talking to my then business partner. He's like, mate, your business partner, like for being a shorter guy, like he doesn't have like little man syndrome, etc. And I remember laughing about that whole thing. I'm like, it's like he speaks with confidence. I'm like, yes, short people can speak with confidence too.
How dare you be confident while short? The
Yeah,
balls
yeah.
of it all.
I'm 5'7" for fuck's sake. In Asia it plays out perfectly fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very regional thing. It's pretty average. Like when I was in Turkey, I really didn't see that many tall people like whatsoever, and it was
Yeah.
almost impossible to lose my husband in the crowd. But
Hmm.
now that I'm in the Netherlands, the tallest people in the world, even stuff in my
Dude,
house is too tall for me. Like my bathroom mirror is too high up. I can't see out of it because like Dutch people are just 5 inches
huge.
taller than I. Yeah,
Yeah.
my friend is like 5'11", and I want to say she's pretty average here. She was in
Hmm.
my house, and she looked like she belonged here way more than I did. Like my counters are even too high up. So I guess it's
That's
all
funny.
perspective, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I've
Yeah.
always treated it like that.
So on that note, now that you guys know that both me and Nick are short kings, please leave a comment below on whether or not I should allow Nick to post a monologue of his favorite movie. How long is the movie? 2 hours?
Probably, well, I think it's like an hour and a half,
No,
not
it's like
terribly
2 hours,
long.
10 minutes.
Is it? Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
You
I
know,
don't know why I remember that, but I was just kind of like, oh, is this thing over? That's
probably
probably why I was
because you were looking at the fucking timer the
I was
whole
like,
time instead of
yeah.
enjoying the movie. I'm gonna make you watch it again, okay? I'm gonna make you watch it again because I feel like
Okay, well, you have to like watch it with me
you
and explain
you
some
you
stuff because
treated
like
it like it was like a torture session, and it's a phenomenal movie. If you
that's
guys
what it felt like.
If you guys are familiar with Sling Blade, please drop a comment defending Billy Bob Thornton and his amazing art.
Yeah, please do. I need some
It's insane.
perspective because like Nick just his credibility just like took a hit, but
I
maybe
named my I named my dog after Carl from Sling Blade, and I'm planning on getting a second one. and it's already named. It's Frank. That way I've got the duo. And the second one has to be smaller than my dog Carl. It's going to be a whole thing.
It doesn't work.
Like
which is easy because I'm pretty sure Carl's a pit bull. Is he not?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I might get him a Chihuahua or something.
Oh, please. Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. You would like, can you imagine Nick walking like this giant dog and then like this tiny little rat?
Yeah. I'll carry a Merce with me. And yeah, it'll be fun.
Like, the Merce with the Chihuahua and the pit bull is like going to confuse people so much.
Get me out of my comfort zone, you know?
Wear a kilt.
Yeah.
And then people will be like, what?
No, that's pretentious, okay? Like, no. I'm drawing the line there. Yeah. Texas wearing a kilt.
Nah. In Seattle, there were guys who would just wear kilts casually all the time. There was like a kilt store, dude. Like,
really?
Yeah. People just, when you're close to the kilt store, you just see like a bunch of just dudes who look like lumberjacks just wearing kilts casually. They're not even doing anything.
This is like the performative male thing where they're all wearing Carhartt jackets and shit like that. No, I'm not getting behind it. I'm not doing it.
Okay. Well, guys, please keep an eye out. We're either going to see a photo on our Facebook group, the SEO Roundtable, of Nicholas wearing a kilt, or you're going to see a monologue of Nick narrating the entirety of the Slingshot movie. Okay.
Sling Blade movie.
Sling Blade. Okay, whatever. Anyway. Okay, anyway, we will see you guys in the next episode, and thank you so much for watching.
Don't forget, it's Black Friday sale, 25% off absolutely everything. We don't plug anything, but we need to. 25% off everything until December 10th. Go in there and get it. It's the biggest sale of the year. It won't be back until next year. And there's no guarantee it'll be 25% off everything. Get in there, check it out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, other promotional stuff, promotion. And I think we're good.
All right, now we're good. We have our plugs sufficiently plugged. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, make sure to give us a like, drop a comment, subscribe, so you don't miss out on any future SEO insights. And hey, if you're serious about your rankings, head over to SirLinksalot.co, check out our premium link building services, guides, and free SEO tools. See you next time.